Hello, this is Kelly Marciano, and today I wanted to go over AlbaBuild.nvim. AlbaBuild.nvim is a small plugin I made for NVim to streamline my interactions with the terminal. It is simple, Git portable, Json configured, hotkey driven, build system for NVim. Because it is Git centered, it allows you to make portable, ergonomic, intuitive build commands right inside your editor. Let's talk about why I made it in the first place. My development pipeline for years is always centered around the terminal, always tabbing through it, navigating to it, writing the same commands, etc. Sometimes getting distracted, not looking at the output as soon as would be optimal, and I've always found it to be somewhat inefficient. However, the alternative, like VS Code's debug integration, where you just press a button and the code will run in a small terminal below, felt a little bit suboptimal. I am blind, right? So naturally, this was not very attractive to me because the terminal was always small, off in the corner. Sometimes you'd have a color change in Visual Studio, but this didn't really happen in VS Code, and I just found the output hard to read in general. So I always wanted to customize my own system of doing it, and I didn't find it possible until I went to NVim. And this is the result of some ideas I've had stewing my brain for quite a bit. This also addresses the issue I found where I would come back to a project over years and I wouldn't remember any of the build commands and the workflow I had made for it originally. And so I thought codifying this in a simple in-editor program might be quite efficient to relearning projects and coordinating other people to the workflow and build system. Telescope and planary are the only dependencies, however they are likewise mandatory. I rely on Telescope for the commands AB show ongoing and AB view, and I rely on Planary for some sugar around executing shell commands. AlbaBuild.nvim currently only supports Linux, as I am a Linux developer and I do not know the intricacies of implementing shell commands on other operating systems such as macOS, Windows, BSD, and others. However, pull requests are welcome and implementation is surely possible. AlbaBC was designed as a project local tool, so the primary way of calling the plugin is by placing a .albabc in the root of your Git repo, next to your .git folder. Additionally, local specific build commands can be assigned by placing a .albabc in a given folder, and that folder and all subdirectories will have the commands from that folder available to them. Additionally, it's worth noting that the specific AlbaBC.json chosen is relative to your buffer, not the CWD of your NVim. So if you open a file in a certain place, it uses that to figure out which JSON it should be using. The JSON format is split into two parts, both placed in the root of a JSON object. EnvVars, as the name implies, allows you to assign environmental variables. The environmental variables used by default are the same as those used in Bash, and by assigning variables here, you can define them in any shell command executed. They override the Bash commands assigned by default, so if you defined a path here, all commands would use this path. For example, if you define meow, you can use meow in any shell command used. Build commands is where actual commands are specified. It can be an object or an array, which each key is mapped to the command. If it is an array, each object is bound to its position in the array, starting from 1. For example, the first object is 1, the second object is 2. Each command has 3 mandatory fields: a name, a shell_cmd, and a CWD. The name is purely descriptive. It is used in the AB show ongoing and the AB view commands. But it is mostly for you to be able to know what the command is used for, so don't skimp on it. The shell cmd is the bash command, which is specified to be ran. It uses the environmental variables assigned above. The CWD, or the current working directory, is the directory in which the bash command is started from. It is always relative to the .albabc.json specifically. In addition to the 3 mandatory parameters, there are 9 optional parameters. 1. Auto-open. Auto-open is a boolean that, upon program exit, will automatically open the terminal in a pop-up window. 2. Print result. Print result is a boolean that, when enabled, prints the terminal output using NVIM's default print. It's less readable and smaller, but is more useful for small outputs that you can ignore. 3. Auto-open whitelist. Auto-open whitelist is an array of integers which specifies the exit codes in which a program will automatically have its auto-open pop-up appear. For example, an array containing only 0 will cause the auto-open pop-up to only appear if the exit code is 0. 4. Auto-open blacklist is an array of integers specifying the exit codes in which a program will not appear. For example, an array containing only 0 will have it open if the exit code is not 0. 6. Print ongoing. Print ongoing is a boolean that, when enabled, opens a new buffer with the ongoing std out in it. It is useful if you want to immediately see the std output of a given command. 7. Min-args is an integer specifying the minimum amount of arguments required to execute a given command from NVIM. 8. Prompt. Prompt is a string which appears when the minimum arguments have not been met for a given command. It reminds you of the arguments and what the command does. 9. Auto-open ongoing is a boolean that, when enabled, opens the terminal output in a buffer that updates as new lines are received from the terminal output. Now we're going to start going over some examples. Test 1. Hello World. This is the most minimal test. All it does is echo Hello World. And as we can see in this pop-up, this is all it does. It echoes Hello World. Test 2. Kill ongoing. Test 2 simulates an ongoing program that must be killed within AlbaBuild.nvim. And because it has auto-open_ongoing, it automatically opens this buffer, which has a ongoing terminal output for us to view. Also, because it has print_ongoing in the nim status line in the bottom left, you can see it continuously updates with the terminal output, thus simulating a long-lived program with occasional terminal outputs. Test 3. EnvVars test. This demonstrates the EnvVars. As you can see here, meow is bound to nya, so if we're quickly setting the EnvVars, it should echo nya, and it does. Test 4. Args test. This demonstrates injecting arguments from the NVIM command line into bash. As you can see, there is no output. As you can see now, there is an output, but it only echoes if we have any argument specified. 5. Blacklist test. Show. Here the program exits with exit code 1, and the blacklist is on 0. It should appear. Test 6. Blacklist test. Don't show. Here the program exits with exit code 1. It shouldn't appear because that is in the blacklist. 7. Whitelist test. Show. Here the program exits 1, and 1 is in the whitelist. It should appear. 8. Whitelist test. Don't show. Here the program exits 0, but 1 is in the whitelist. It should not appear. 9. Mandatory args test. Here is the last test that is bound to a keybind in the recommended keybinds. It has 2 mandatory arguments. As you can see, it wants 2 args, and it shows us our prompt. As you can see now it works, and shows us the args we provided. These last 2 tests are named, and cannot be executed by hitting a number using the default commands as all previous tests were. You can execute this by typing leader xb0, or by typing in ab execute, and then the command name. This test is a name test. It simply demonstrates the capacity for complex or long names in a given command name. This last test, name test 2, simply is an argument test, but with a name. You can proceed as we did with the previous one. This video is intended to be a straightforward overview of AlbaBuild.nvim. However, not everything was covered here, so be sure to read the README for extra concerns and features that may not have been addressed here, especially features that may have been added since the release of this video. Thank you.